Hello, everyone. Welcome back to another episode of Conscious Conversations. Today, I am here with my beautiful friend, Rubia. Thank you so much for joining me today.
Thank you for having me. It's a pleasure.
I really want to start off just with you letting the listeners know who you are and what it is that you do before we begin.
Okay, great. So my name is Rubia Lacerda, and I am a trance channeler and ascension mentor. And trance channeling means that I connect with galactic beings, some would call extraterrestrial beings. I teach channeling, teach others how to connect with their own abilities, gifts, and abilities, and ultimately supporting people to connect with their unique soul art. Doesn't have to just be channeling and just psychic and mediumship, and live an incredible life simultaneously.
I love this. I can just feel this conversation is going to be incredible.
Yeah.
So, what I like to start conscious conversations off with a question, and that is if you could have one conscious conversation to help wake up humanity, what would that be?
Great question. That would be, how can we work? What is required of us on an individual level so that we can support the ascension of humanity on a collective level without waiting for it to come to us, to happen to us, without waiting for a savior or for things to change first. So what is it that we can go first, we can do first? Who can we become so that humanity, planet Earth, becomes a better place?
Mm, we could all play a role in that, right? So, what would you suggest that we could do individually for ourselves to raise the awareness?
This is something that I talk a lot about, and it's something that it's very present at the moment because it is something that I just ran a transmission on it, and genuinely this is what's coming up, so I honor that. It is each individual connecting to their unique soul art and living that. Because when you connect with your uniqueness, with the art of your soul that wants to express through you, and you live that, you are in a joyful state. And when you are in a joyful state, you are spreading that joy, which means that you are having an impact, known and unknown impact, the ripple effects of you being in your leading your life in a unique way, like in your own unique way, connecting with your soul art has incredible ripple effects, and some of it we will never know, like how far the ripples go with the good things that we do in this life. So it really, it truly is. And that, what is the unique soul art? I am doing my unique soul art right now. I love speaking. I love channeling. I love the subjects of consciousness and helping humanity. And um, I love dancing. I love art. And for some people, it may be singing, it may be painting, it may be dancing, uh, podcasts, bringing incredible guests into your podcast, helping others, step into the beauty of who they are without trying to change themselves and change their body. There's unlimited options for what our unique soul art is.
Mm, absolutely. So how would you guide someone to find out what their true soul gift is, what their uniqueness is? Because everyone obviously is very different. So how do you guide people in seeing what their gift is?
Look, how I answer this question is that the majority of people know what their gift is, but they take it for granted because it comes to them so naturally that they will think it can't be this easy. Really? It was pointed out to me in 2020 when I had a mentor that I was a channeler and that I was here to support leaders, new earth leaders. And I had an initial shock when she said that. And then I was like, oh, wow, that really resonates. Because channeling, mediumship, psychic came to me so naturally. I was born with the gift. So I never thought it was like a big deal. For me, it has never been a big deal. So for people, it's like it is not really about them finding what their unique gift is, because the majority of the time they know. It's about removing what's on the way of them fully recognizing what their gift is and fully accepting it and fully honoring it.
Yeah. It's really when your gifts do come online, like I agree with you. We all have these innate gifts within us. And when you are aware of them and you start working with them, it's really hard when you've already been programmed to be silenced or to feel like maybe it's a weird thing or, like from my experience, it's like frowned upon or, I'm seen as weird for being able to connect with spirit or things like that. So how would you encourage someone to actually work with it and bring it forward without feeling the pressure from the outside world of being seen as being weird or that's something that I've experienced. So how would you help people to do that?
So what I say is that is fully step into your gift and what you're here to share with the world. It's a full initiation, and it's going to require you to face certain things that you would probably avoid if it wasn't because of something that's beyond you, that it's something that you're so passionate about that you're willing to go there to take those steps. And it takes a lot of courage. And I say that from personal experience. I use the term I came out of the galactic closet in 2020. And I just basically came out on social media and I called my mother and I said, I'm sorry if there's a backlash in your hometown. And she said, I don't care what people say. You've been looking for your passion for your thing for 20 years. Now that you found it, go out there, help other people do the same and inspire other people to do the same. So I had all these assumptions that it was going to be bad for my family because they are from a small country town in Brazil and that people in town were going to talk. So I created all these assumptions. When I went and did it, it wasn't as bad as I thought. And when it did happen, because I have had people, I featured in a few podcasts with lots of hundreds of thousands of views. And some people, there's lots of comments in those. And some of them are pretty mean. Some of them would say, what if she has a mental health issue? What if it's schizophrenia? Fair point. What if she's making this up? Or what if they're making this up for fame? And it's just a matter of receiving the criticism and not allowing it to get to you. It may get to you, but you get used to it. Like, what are you willing what I was willing to do? I am okay with the criticism because I know that the positive impact that it has in my life and others' life is way beyond the few seconds of pain that I have to deal with when I have to read a comment or hear a comment from somebody. And I have been actually quite lucky because my family, it's very supportive of the work that I do. My 80-year-old father, who is a doctor, says, of course, extraterrestrial beings are real. It is stupid to think that we're the only ones in the entire existence.
Hmm, absolutely. I love that. And I can relate to that so much because in my early 20s, I was diagnosed with drug induced psychosis because I was hearing so many other voices. And when I actually look back at that now, it wasn't from the drugs and anything like that. From where I sit, these were actually spirits or people that have passed trying to connect with me to bring messages through because that's what I do now. I have a team that help bring messages in from people that have passed to share with others. And when I look at that now, I'm like, that's what it was. I can still hear the conversations that were had 20 something years ago. Yeah. So yeah, I can relate to the it's schizophrenia or it's actually what if it's something greater than that? What if it is messages coming from other realms?
Yes.
So how old were you when you first started? You said that, you were born with this. Was it something that went on for you at a younger age, or was it in 2021 that it happened?
No, I remember having an experience as a child, and the memories that I have was started like that I can remember when I was 12. I was premonitions. I had a premonition about a car accident that my father was in. I when a loved one would pass away, I could feel them inside of the house and the lights would flicker. I could feel footsteps inside of the house at nighttime. And then what started to happen is I I would go to sleep and then I would wake up. And I wake up in my bedroom and then there was a hybrid being sitting on my bed and we would be having a chat. And hybrid being is a being that is part human, part extraterrestrial. Back then, I didn't know it was a hybrid being. Many, many years later, I discovered. And then I would wake up. So what was happening? And I would call out my mother, mom, mom. I was 16. As I said, there was a blonde woman sitting on my bed. I remember that vividly. And what was happening is I was waking up in alternate realities, or some would say different dimensions. I feel like alternate realities. Then I would come back and wake up in this body. And you can imagine a 16, 18-year-old having these experiences. And I was very, very psychic, very, very intuitive. And I, it's not like back in the day, that was, I don't know, over almost 30 years ago. So it's not like I had access to social media to educate myself and learn what was happening. So that was happening, but while I was still living life and being a teenager and partying every weekend, and I used alcohol unknowingly to cope with it
Mm,
because I could feel everything, and I am very sensitive. All of my clairs are activated. I can feel a lot, and so yeah. So I was a teenager when that was happening, and life happened, and then I was like, I'm just gonna live a normal life, and I just couldn't. I just could not ignore. I couldn't ignore, and then the Arcturians came into my life when I was working as a counselor and as a healer. I was doing a counseling session. I started in 2018 and I saw them. I had my third eye open. I had a vision of five of them saying, "We are here to work with you." And I said, "Please go away. I can't tell people that I'm seeing blue extraterrestrial beings." And then a year and a half later in 2020, that's when, it was world madness. I thought if there's a year to come out of the galactic closet, 2020 is the year. And I did ask myself a question. If I died in 6 months, will I die happy? What would I do if I knew that I would die in 6 months? And that's when I made the decision to come out of galactic closet because I said I could die with going and leaving this planet without ever sharing this.
wow. Well, I'm so grateful that you are sharing, and especially with the audience today. So, for people that are unaware of the Arcturians, can you speak into that and how they come through for you?
Yes. So Arcturians are being from the Arcturus star constellation. So in some of the spiritual world, they are quite well known. A lot of people connect with them. They are beings who are more advanced, and their matter is not as dense. So they have light bodies. Their body is not as dense as this denser body, that third dimensional body that we have, meaning that because we are denser beings, we have more illusions. There are more illusions of the existence of who we are as a fractal of source, experiencing itself in this human form. And we get blinded by the illusions of the human form. So these beings are here to support us to see beyond the veil and to bring through most of the times the information that they bring through is very, very simple. They basically remind us of the simplicity of being humans and that we cause chaos, otherwise it would just be very boring for us to be here because we're such emotional beings that need this constant um how do you say, blow up of emotion, not constant blow up of emotion, but we need to feel. We are feeling beings. And there was one second question you asked, and how? You asked two questions, didn't you? Who they
Uh,
are?
yeah, and how they come and share their message with
Oh,
you.
how they come. Yes. So I have the ability that it's called trance channeling. So trance means that I go into a trance state and I allow them to come through and speak through me. So basically, imagine as if my consciousness takes the back seat, they come through and they take the front seat and they speak. So there are multiple, there are very some well-known trance channelers. And I talk about there's a level of trance channel. Let's say that here I'm super awake, listening to everything they're saying. Here I'm fully out. No idea what they're saying. Where I sit is in the middle. So I take the back seat. I allow them to speak through me. I can hear the conversation that they're having, but I don't have control over what they're saying. So I can still hear it. Some people are completely out. So that's how they bring through their messages. And because I've been trans channeling them since 2020, I am very familiar with the messages that they share. So a lot of the times I will be relaying in their messages. I don't need to go into a trance state in order to share their message. I can actually channel their message. And there's a lot of things that they will share the same thing about the same subject. So I am already familiar with the answers that they have. So there's a couple of different ways in which I can bring their messages through or that they can come through.
Yeah, amazing. I love that they've got this same message pretty much for us. It's obvious for them what they want to bring into this world. So to have people like yourself that are open to receiving and sharing with us, do you feel like it's something to do with the planet and what we are actually creating here? Because you did say, we're feelers and we create chaos and, it's all erratic and things like that in the world. Do you feel they want they want us to all bring the peace? That what do you feel like their main message is for us?
Their main message is the full acceptance of who we are. And for example, this is a great example that they give me. They will say that we have, like right now, I'm going to use this. This is, we share this. So this half is negative, this half is positive. And this is how we experience ourselves: good, bad. If I'm here, I'm good. If I'm here, I'm bad. And what they say is that how can we transform this into this? Where it's all in the same place. It's all the same thing. And the more that we are able to remove the separation within, the more we are able to remove the separation without. The more that we are able to end the wars that is happening inside of us on an individual level, we are supporting the wars that are happening externally to also end, which means that we have an impact on the collective. So self acceptance, because self acceptance really is a lifelong journey, because there's so much programming of non acceptance of the self.
Yeah. So much programming that we are to undo, relearn, and reprogram ourselves. Oh, that, yeah, it's a topic that's been coming up a lot lately in my world is what we are experiencing externally is what's happening internally. So if we are accepting ourselves and finding the peace within, then that's what's going to be shown in the external world. So if everyone around is creating peace within themselves and you accepting who they truly are, I
Mm.
can see
Mm.
the world becoming at peace because we're at peace with ourselves. So I
Yeah.
love that.
Yes.
Ah, how have you reprogrammed, you know, you've had acceptance from your parents. How have you stepped into the courage to accept yourself and bring this forward, accepting and acknowledging your true higher self.
Can you ask that? Can you ask that again, or ask in a different way?
So how have you summoned the courage within yourself to bring this forward in full acceptance of your
Yeah.
gifts and who you are?
Thank you. My brain scrambled. Well, there's a saying. I think we do things either out of love or out of or it's either out of something positive or something negative. And for me, the gift has always been there. I tried to run away from it, and I just wanted to work in normal jobs, and that was it because it was comfortable. Then I started to get really, really uncomfortable, and that was always there. I want to do more. I used to work in for government call centers. I was like, I want to do more than this. Surely I can do more than this. And I could never just being like in a system where I had to work 11 months and I had 1 month off and my family lives in Brazil. I just couldn't. I was like, I just can't do this. And I knew I had a gift to help people. And I knew I had the gift back then. I would say mediumship and psychic. I didn't even use the word channeling. And it was really through pain, the desire to do something different, and pain of being in a job that was absolutely crushing my soul. And in 2020, I actually lost the job. And I was so happy that I lost the job. And then I was like, that's it. I took out a huge loan. I invested in a galactic business mentor and I went all in. So there was a number of things that had me, that brought me to that point. I feel like everything happened perfectly, exactly as it had to. And there is a version of me that would have definitely done it earlier. And I was just it was just petrifying to leave a 9 to 5 and live a 9 to 5 income and to go and live a life that I had never lived before. That no one in my lineage, no woman in my lineage had lived that before. So the pain of just crushing my soul really drove me to courageously fully step into what I do today.
Beautiful. It's an incredible feeling when you know that you are the first woman in your lineage to stop the repeat cycle of how the women have been, and there's so much power and healing within that to move to where you are and what you're doing and what you're creating. So I like honor you in that, because that's huge in itself. And to step out of the uncomfortable, to step out of the comfort zone, sorry, into the uncomfortable, and just know that you're on the right path, and for you to even be aware that it all happened perfectly for you to now be in this and on this journey.
Yes, and my story, the way that it happened, and then I share my story, it also inspire others who may be in a similar position to do the same. Oh, so she did have fears. So this did happen to her. And I had once when I used to do one-on-one sessions, someone booked a session with me and then she sent me feedback months later saying, I just wanted to open a YouTube account talking about mindset and I was afraid. And then I came across you and you're channeling extraterrestrial beings. I was like, what am I afraid of? Look at this woman like being put, she can be called crazy by so many people. And here I am afraid of talking about mindset on YouTube. And then she opened a YouTube channel. So it's like, the term that I use is a permission slip for others to go and do something similar.
Yeah, beautiful. And that's you just shining your light so others can become aware of what's actually possible when you do go all in, and you're not afraid of the repercussions or what people are going to say, because at the end of the day, that's their issue. That's their on them. That's their own emotion. So you just going in and doing that and leading the way for others, this is where you're talking about the ripple effect that you have no idea how far it's going to go, because how many people has that woman now touched with her YouTube mindset channel that you're unaware of. So that's the
Mhm.
ripple, right?
Yes, that's it. That's it.
Mm. Yeah, I love that. I love that. And it's so powerful when we do step in to the uncomfortable and create what it is that is within us that we are here to share. So going back to helping people recognize their gifts, is that what you are still doing with your clients, or what is that you're helping them with now?
So the clients that I help go from, they may be very gifted, and they have been thinking about sharing for a while, but they haven't done it. So we could say more at the start of sharing their mission. And I've had clients who've been doing it for 20 plus years. And I've also had a lot of coaches, healers, entrepreneurs, but also I've had like celebrities and sports people, and then just people that find it, but because they want to expand their capacity to hold more. They want to go to that next level. So there's different it's really people that want to connect deeper with their own gifts, with their unique gifts, and take their life to the next level. So connecting with their unique soul art. And a lot of people do get attracted to my work because they want to go deeper into their own channeling and trance channeling abilities. And the reason why I brought in the soul art, it's because what I realized, I ran a program once called Channeling Codex, which I turned into a 3-day event now. It was 3 months. And the majority of people, well, everyone that was in there, it was about channeling. And a lot of people that were in there, it was because they wanted to trance channel like I do, right? And some of them already did. And there was a woman, I love this story, on week 3, because I teach a lot about, the first question is, why do you want to trans channel? Because a lot of people want to do it because of significance that they believe that they will give them, which could be connected to some form of trauma, unresolved trauma. And this woman realized on week 3 that she was already trans channeling. She had already posted videos online and everything. And she realized that that was not her path. And she said that that was one of the best things that she ever did, was attending a channeling codex program to realize that that wasn't her path. So I could say that just I really help people connect with their unique gift, whether that's channeling or not.
Mm.
Does that make sense? It's
Yeah,
sometimes like tricky to explain. It's like, how do you put into words what you do?
yeah. Yeah, no, absolutely, I get it. And I feel everyone does have a gift. So being held in that and having the space to uh I don't know, just not even experiment, but just be all of them in a safe space for them to bring through whatever it is that's coming up, and to have you there to help and guide them. Yeah, anything's possible, right? Anything.
Yes.
Yeah, I think connecting with your your soul gifts is what a lot of people just can't make sense of, that they actually have this available to them. So yeah, once you do actually connect, you can create anything in the world, right? You can bring anything, and you don't actually have to stay in your 9 to 5 job or whatever it is. You have so many gifts and passions and things within you that you get to bring to the world.
Yes. Yeah.
How do you get the uh unconscious people out there that are closed-minded to open to their gifts? How do we help people to do that when they have programming and beliefs and things like that that are not theirs? How do we get them to open up and see what's actually there for them?
Mm, great question. I don't.
That's on you. You figure it out yourself.
So it is number one step for people it is so important that they make the decision first and foremost to want to go there. Because if they don't, if that step is missing, there's always going to be something missing, and they're not going to take responsibility for things if something goes wrong, which I don't think anything goes wrong. There's no mistakes or going wrong. It's all feedback. So if I was to, let's say, invite someone into one of my containers and sell them into, knowing that it's not fully aligned, but I can persuade them because I know sales and I can persuade them to come and join, I'm going to pay a very high price for doing that. And it's going to be a very difficult dynamic. And this happens a lot. It's going to be a very difficult dynamic because if that person didn't first and foremost choose to be there, and then they're gonna get triggered because the stuff comes up, and then they're gonna get triggered, and then this drama. So I have let go of the idea that we, as being in the position that we are in, like you and I and other I don't like titles, but healers, channelers, coaches, that we have to help awaken people that are, let's say, unconscious. It's not our job to do that. They get to choose. And I trust in the unfolding of life, and I trust in whatever it is that their soul has chosen to experience on this earth. And some people will never get to experience what we experience. And and I believe that that's okay, because this is a third dimensional realm, dualistic, paradoxical. So it is inevitable that we are going to have different level of consciousness in a dualistic, paradoxical existence.
Yeah. I feel like we already have signed up for what we are going to experience in this lifetime anyway. That's my belief. Everything that we experience and go through, like I signed up for that before even coming to Earth. So with the things that I like to bring for my clients, what I like to do is help them regulate their nervous system and actually come home to themselves and be in their body. I feel like we get so caught up in living life and being on autopilot that we don't actually feel, see, hear. There's no chance for us to channel or to hear the clairvoyant, to have our clairs on, if we can't feel safety in our own body. So I feel like for me, that's my way of helping people become conscious beings and then allow their gifts to then come online through that.
Yes, I love that.
Because
100%.
how do we hear it if we're in the hustle and bustle of everyday life, like unaware of what's going on, right?
Yes.
Because I honestly feel like we don't hear, see, or feel anything if we're not in our body. And I spent so many years not in my body. So so doing that has switched, like regulating myself and working on my programming and my beliefs and things like that, changing my perspective on everything, and it's opened up so many things within me. So yeah, I feel like it is up to the individual to make these choices themselves, and then have people like yourself and me to be there to help guide them where they are at that time.
Yes.
We all play a role once once the human has decided that, okay, I'm going to go within.
Yes. Totally. I love
Mm,
that.
mm, same. I just love talking about all the different things because everyone has a different gift. Like you bring so much to your clients and other people that I've had on the podcast, people about using their voice, people about working through the chakras, the Reiki, all the different gifts. People are here this is how we get to help the planet and the earth, is by each and every one of us having these individual gifts. Thank you for bringing this forward and showing and speaking about trans channeling, because I can guarantee there's people that are listening that actually have no idea about it. So this is just conversations that I like to have, so people can open their awareness and see what's actually possible out there in this lifetime.
Totally. And I've had people message me after I've shared family members, like distant family members, saying I've had similar gifts and I never, ever shared with anyone. And I am 40 plus years old. I've had multiple messages like that. So it's once again that permission slip. You never know who's going to be listening and who's going to be receiving and what's that's going to activate for them.
Yeah. Yeah, that's why we have to be courageous and do the thing. Do you have many family members that are trans channelers or do connect with their clairs? What?
So it's very interesting. So in 2017, I was doing a course training. It's called pranic healing. It's very similar to Reiki. So it was a weekend. And we went to lunch, and the facilitator, she's an older lady, been doing this for decades. And she came to me, she's like, "Are there any other healers in your family?" I was like, "No, I'm the only one." Anyway, went and had lunch. When I came back and sat down, I was like, holy shit, everyone in my family is a healer because dad's a doctor. Mom used to be a nurse assistant, and that's how they met. You know, when she was very young. My brother became a doctor, and my sister was a pharmacist, and now she's a beauty therapist. And my sister is very, very psychic. She's like very similar to me. She's not a trans channel, but if she wanted to be, she would be. So, and my dad has shared experiences of when he was doing surgery, he felt an energy in his hand once that he was like, it was beyond me.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. My brother can't drink out. Like none of us can really drink alcohol because you know it doesn't go well with us. Changes our personality, and we have mom has Amazonian indigenous background, so yeah, the whole family has their healers and have their gifts in their own unique way. So to answer your question, yes,
Yeah, that's amazing. I
yeah,
love that. I love that your dad was even aware that this is not me in
yes, yeah,
surgery. That's incredible. I love hearing stories like that. That
yes.
something else was there to guide him in that moment, that quite possibly saved this person's life.
Yes. Yeah. Yeah. And
Wow.
he's very intuitive. Sometimes I can like we have a strong connection. Sometimes I'll hear his voice inside of my head saying, "Rubia, you haven't called home. When are you going to call?" Because back in the day before you have smartphones and WhatsApp and you could just call, I would call their landline and I had a Skype. I
Yeah.
paid like $10 a month, so I could call their landline. So did that for I don't know 15 years until they finally got a smartphone and until finally they have WhatsApp. But they're so used to me calling them, and they don't like if they try to call me and I don't answer. They get worried. I'm like, guys, seriously, I live on the other side of the world, and so but I can hear his voice. You haven't called. So I called and mom usually answers and she'll say, I said, his dad been saying that I haven't called. She's like, yes, you got the message. So communicate telepathically as well.
Yes, that's amazing. I love that. And I love that your mum straight away is like, "Oh, so you got his message?"
Yeah, yeah, yeah.
It's so great. It's so the connection there. And of course they're going to be like that, like
Yeah, yeah.
when you stepped forward and were showing your gifts, they were probably more open to seeing theirs then as well.
Yes, yeah. And to supporting me as well because they saw how much happier I've became. I used to have a problem with alcohol. I stopped drinking 8 years ago, and then I started going down on the path of self development. They saw the improvement and the better person that I became because I stepped into this mission. At the start, my dad was a little bit, he didn't like, but not the fact of what I did. He didn't like the fact that I didn't have a 9 to 5 job and an income every week. So he was afraid that it wouldn't work out financially. So he was more for that side. But other than that, they really saw. But I had to go first. I had, even when he didn't agree with me, I had to keep going despite what they would say. This is not going to work. What if it doesn't work out? What if you don't make money? Blah, 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 blah. I kept going and now they see it. And he'll ask me questions. How's your business going? How are things going? What are you doing at the moment? And I saw your post on social media. So it's like, it doesn't mean that your family may accept straight away or your loved ones. But if honestly, most people, when they see your happiness, I believe that they will um, support you. And even if they don't, that may be a path that your soul chose to experience here. I'm going to step into my soul gift, and some of my family members won't accept, and that is okay.
Always okay. That they I just love that. I love that they are so, accepting of you and are curious around your business because, yeah, it's been challenging with my parents as well. When I first started, that was the same thing, worried about how are you gonna make money, all of that, because it wasn't a 9 to 5. It wasn't, every week I was getting paid. So I can relate to that. I wanna speak into alcohol a little bit because alcohol within, like, not only just Australia, the world, everyone is it's okay to drink alcohol compared to people that do drugs. Drugs is seen as something bad, even, mushrooms, marijuana, things like that, plant medicine. When people use alcohol to numb, to disassociate, all of the things, my belief is that they're opening themselves up to other spirits, things like that. What is your take on alcohol and why it changes, and do you feel like you're so open then because you don't have control of your body? Like, what why was it that you stopped?
So I started drinking very young when I was 14, and just a small town, you go out and we would buy, I don't know how to say in English, cachaça. It's like the rum, the really cheap alcohol that's strong. And I would just drink when I would go out and party. But when I did drink, I would binge drink. So on and off for many years, I wouldn't drink for months and months. But then when I would drink, I would binge drink. And it was always this back and forth. I want to stop. I want to stop. I would go to a party. I'm not going to drink. But then I couldn't. And then for me personally, with the gifts that I have, yes, you do lose control, and I would get infiltrated. I would have horrendous nightmares. I would be lying in bed after, like 2 nights after partying, and I could feel this energy almost like trying to choke me. I felt like I was being terrorized in my sleep, and there were so many things that would happen. And I knew that it was because, well, one, I went out to places with like lower level, like and low energy, lower frequencies, and also alcohol, and I would pick that up because I'm like a sponge.
Mm.
So for people that have gifts and abilities, you just have to be really. I don't. It's such a personal experience. For me personally, it was just a big no with transchanneling. And it's hilarious that people would judge drugs because I did ayahuasca in 2017 for the first time with the intention of it helping me to stop drinking alcohol. And it did exactly that. It was ayahuasca that helped me because it changed. There's studies now that do show that it changes something in your brain. It was like there was a puzzle piece missing inside of my brain. I came out, something was changing inside of my brain. And I've been sober for 8 years now. And hilarious. I've used the different psychedelics in that time. I don't anymore, but I've had a few different ceremonies. And as a trans channel, I would never drink alcohol. And I would recommend that others don't do it either. And there is a difference between going to a nightclub, low frequency, getting shit faced, hanging out with people that you don't know, opening up your field, to going out to dinner with a loved one and having a glass of wine that you love and that you really feel like this is going to bring me so much happiness. The it's like set and setting, just like when you do psychedelics. Well, how are you feeling? Why are you having this drink? Is it a celebration that this is so important to you? You want to do with a loved one? And where's the place that you're at and why is it that you're doing? So I never liked alcohol. I just drank because I wanted to get drunk and I wanted to just basically get out of my body because it was too much to be in the body and to experience all that I experienced. I wanted to dissociate, just get drunk like the majority of people do. So when I stopped, I don't miss having a glass of wine. I never liked wine, never liked any of it. So when people come and work with me, especially if they talk about trance channeling, I do a full check. What is it that they eat, the foods that they eat, the exercise regime, medication that they're taking, and if they're going out and drinking. I've had multiple people apply to work with me that go out and party on weekends, and I said no. Once you stop that lifestyle, once you change your life, you can come and work with me. I will definitely not coach someone that's partying every
Mm,
week.
mm, yeah. I am curious about the ayahuasca journey because it's been coming up for me like for the last couple of years, and I haven't been anywhere to experience that. And I would love to go to Peru to do that. However, I do use a microdose with mushrooms every now and then, well, every few days. And it's
Yes.
always with intention and asking for like, what, how are you going to guide me today? Things like that. And then there's months that I don't do it as well, so just depending on what it is that my body's asking for and what I'm shown through the mushrooms, which is great because I'm a big believer that plant medicine is here to help and guide us. Absolutely. And even the studies that have been done recently around the harder drugs, MDMA, I think even ketamine for
Yes.
PTSD and things like that, when it's in a controlled environment with a shaman or someone that is there to help, I feel like it has its place because when you're opening up, you're being guided by someone that's there to help, and it's not just out there in a nightclub or at festivals with all of the energies floating around and you being open to receiving other things with
Yes.
with others around. So, what was the ayahuasca journey like for you?
I'm laughing because I have extensive experience with plant medicine, and that's probably a whole podcast. So I don't know if I can do justice. I've had 15 journeys of ayahuasca. Um, so with my when I had the first, it was a weekend, so it was a Friday and a Saturday, and my whole being remembered my entire lineage of Amazonian. I saw the Amazon, and then I told my nephew in Brazil because I did it in Australia. I told my nephew, and then my nephew and his mom went and did ayahuasca. Then my nephew moved to the Amazon and he went so deep into the ayahuasca world that he's doing a master's now study in Europe about the influence of ayahuasca and Icaros, the songs that they sing during the journeys, how they influence each other. And he travels with an indigenous couple throughout Europe, sharing more about the medicine. And he's a translator because he speaks 5 languages. So it's a big part of our history and of our ancestry. And in 2023, I had an experience with another medicine called DMT 5-MeO, that many people call it Bufo, which is one of the most powerful psychedelics on the planet. And I had a tough experience. 6 days later, I had a drug-induced psychosis, and which is great as well because now I know the difference between psychosis and channeling and mediumship and psychic gifts. It's very, very different. I was very unwell. I was still able to function, but inside of my mind, it was all very scrambled, and I could feel that something was wrong. And it only lasted 2 days, but then I had what some call a Kundalini awakening. It all blown open. It was all blown open. Everything came up to the surface. I was processing that for about 6 months. On and off, I had multiple different things happening. And then for another 6 months, I was just recovering from it all, especially my nervous system, because it was very, very stressful to my nervous system. And since then, my my whole being, it's a lot more sensitive to my environment. I was never very sensitive to sound, but now I am a little bit more sensitive to sound. You and I met in a room that was full of people. When lots of people are talking simultaneously, it can become quite overwhelming. I didn't used to have that. I just became more sensitive after this Bufo experience. and I feel my nervous system still recovering. So let me just tune in and share what I want to share with you about ayahuasca. Do you have, is there any specific question that comes up? Because I've had many journeys. So do you have like a specific question that is present about my experience?
I guess from where I'm looking at it, d did you just have full trust in the people that were guiding you, that wherever it was gonna take you, you knew that they would help pull you out, or not pull you out, but, like, help you get through it without, like, actually losing your mind? Do you know what
Um,
I mean? Do you
Such a
feel
great question. It's such a great question that you probably understand it better after you do the plant medicine, because I am very sensitive, so I have a very intense experience. So the first night it was okay, it was mild, and I had never done psychedelics in my life before. Never really did drugs. I tried a couple of things and I was like, this is not my thing. I prefer alcohol back then. Then the second night she gave me a bigger dose. And 10 minutes in, I was like, something's wrong. The shaman needs to bring me back. And I went outside and I'm asking someone to come and help me. I need to get out of the, what is this? So she came and she smudged me. We're in the middle of the bush somewhere. And she just put her hand on my shoulder and said, doing a great job, sister. And she walked back. And I was like, everyone is effed. I am effed. The Shashram is effed. Everyone's here. I'm going to die in the middle of the jungle doing drugs in Australia. My parents are going to be so disappointed. And I had the wildest journey. I was far gone. And I was like, that's it. I'm done. I'm never coming back. And absolutely no one can pull you out of there, of that. And you have to have full acceptance that you are in the madness of the consciousness and madness of having this plant medicine journey that you genuinely don't know if you're going to come back. You are going to come back, but when you are in that state, you don't know if you're going to come back. And that was my experience. So, what it taught me was not only that trusting the people that were there were going to help me, it was trusting myself and trusting, could say, God in all that is, that was working out for my highest purpose, even though it was full madness. And I was like, I am never, ever, ever doing this again. And 2 months later, I was back there because it changed my life so much.
I love that. I love that.
Yeah. Yeah.
Okay. Wow. Alright. Because I know that I'm in for a ride and a treat when I go, and I just want to make sure that I'm going for the right reasons, and that, yeah, I know that it's all me.
When you go, you're going to go for a certain reason, and then there's all the things that will pop up and it will make more sense. It's such a wise medicine. And what I always recommend to people, no matter who you are going to work with, especially after the experience that I had back in 2023, which I was poorly supported afterwards. The facilitator, I don't even call him a shaman, the facilitator wasn't able to really support me. And I had to find support elsewhere. And it was such a wild, crazy experience. Is that where you are going, you know people that have been there and they've given you really good feedback, and that you ask the people, this is the questions that people don't ask. Who is the facilitator? How many people are going to participating of this journey? What is the setting? How long has these people been doing this for? Because if there are more than 20 people in a ceremony, that's a problem, because the shaman is holding space for everyone. And a shaman can't hold space for more than usually around 16 people, is what I've heard from people that have been experienced to been doing this for a while. And I did a lot of research when I was going through it and afterwards. And I actually want to study more about DMT5-MeO. I have a little passion about it. I don't do plant medicine anymore, and I'll probably most likely never do it again. I don't know, never say never, but based on the experience I had, I don't really need it, to be honest, because it did open me up a lot more. Is what is the support that they're going to offer you afterwards? What is the preparation that they're going to support? What type of preparation do they help you? These are really, really important questions that people aren't asking, especially nowadays that so many people are just offering these medicines. They will do 3 medicines and go, I'm a shaman now. And
Mm,
what it takes someone to be a shaman, it's so much more than having the medicine, knowing it for 6 months and having a little training. It's a lifetime. It's ancestral.
yeah. Amazing. Well, maybe we can connect after the podcast and
Yeah, I have to be careful because I'm very passionate about the subject. I could go on and on and on and on because it's yeah, I have yeah, there's many stories, many things that I've experienced and that I know about it.
yeah. Yeah, and I've heard from other people around that they've had different experience as well. So I know what it's like out there.
Mm, yes.
Wow. I love that for you and that it's brought different things, like different awarenesses and put pieces of puzzles back together. And that's what I feel people go there for is, to be shown different things within their life. So exciting times. I'm excited to actually do that. So thank you for sharing. Where can people actually find you to connect with you if they're wanting to talk more about your trance channeling and things like that?
So I am quite active on social media, Instagram, Facebook, and I put everything on my website as well. So Rubia Lacerda, if you search me, you're gonna find, and those are the best places. Sometimes I put some videos on YouTube, but yes, really love connecting through social media.
Amazing. Well, is there anything that you would finish off this call with to share with the audience? Some piece of advice or your number one thing to share?
Let me tune in and see what wants to come through. I feel like I never do justice to this question because there's so much that you could share. And what's coming up is there's so much coming up now. It's like
Perfect. Share it. Share.
whatever it is that you're being tested in your personal life right now, know that uh, that is gold for your path. That is actually initiating you into next level, especially for your mission. So you may be going, oh no, but I am wasting my time. I should be somewhere else doing something else. Know that you are at the right place at the right time, especially as it's related to personal life because your personal life what how it's like the how I say is the behind if you have a mission that you show up online for example the behind the scenes of your life when you work on that it has a great impact on your mission. So whatever it is that you're working through now fully honor that, and the more that you honor and let go of resistance the more things will unfold with more ease and grace, and you will get the lesson and you will get the understanding. I feel that that's what the message that wanted to come through.
That was a perfect message. Perfect. Thank you for
Pleasure to
sharing
speak with
that.
you about, yes.
Do you feel complete?
I feel complete. This was amazing. We could do it another one. Just talk.
Absolutely. So many different topics that we can speak into
I
and
know.
yeah, thank you so much for being here and sharing your life, your journey, your wisdom with us. And people can reach you over on Instagram. I will put it in the show notes with the proper spelling and everything so people can go and find you. So, Rubia, thank you so much for being here. And oh, I just love your work and I'm excited to connect with you again on the outside.
Thank you for having me.
Pleasure. Thanks, guys. I will drop everything in the show notes and we'll talk to you on the next episode. Bye.